Hello, welcome to the Citrus Garden. If you're new here, my name is Christina. If you're not new here, hi, welcome back. It's great to see you. This is a reading for Aries, Sun, Moon, or Rising, or if you have any other significant Aries placements, there may be a message in here for you. So Aries, to get started, I'm getting this message. I'm not sure if this is you or if this is somebody else. It kind of feels like somebody else who is... So you may already know them. But it feels kind of like they're trying to approach you is kind of how it's coming through. Like trying to either like get to know you or approach you or like... But what I was seeing for them is like from the ground up, which is interesting. I don't think that they have you up on a pedestal, Aries, but it could be. There might be a little bit of that, but because it's more so what I'm seeing is like on a different level, Aries. And it's not to say that like anyone is better than the other person. I don't think it's that at all, but it feels kind of like maybe you already have some experience in like a certain, like let's say it's something where it's like work related. It doesn't have to be that, but just as an example, let's say this person, like you have more experience in a certain field or something like that. So it's like this person is working their way up to your level, if that makes sense. If it's not work related, like it could just be something like there's a difference in experience, or they're starting something new or learning something new or learning some sort of new skill or something like that. And I feel like for this person, it feels kind of like there's a lot about this new energy that feels a bit scary for them, but they are doing it. It's like wanting to come through like that. Like they are doing the work. They're facing their fears. They're making a lot of progress is how it's coming through, which is really positive and good. If this is not another person for you, Aries, it feels... So it could be like an aspect of self, right? Like the way that it's coming through kind of feels like something where if it's a part of yourself that maybe you became disconnected from, or part of your shadow maybe even, that like didn't receive enough nourishment, right? So it's kind of like there's a part of you that's already at the higher level or has all this experience, but there's a part of you that maybe doesn't. And so there's a disconnect in terms of like the level, if that makes sense. And so that part of yourself is now growing in order to meet you, the rest of you, at the same level, if that makes sense. Okay, Aries. I feel like there's a lot of caution and respect that's coming through this dynamic, because I feel like there's something about like this person is respecting your boundaries or being very cautious about your boundaries. And I also feel like, so it does feel kind of like this is a very strong spiritual connection. It doesn't have to be romantic, but it could be for some of you. But there's a very strong groundedness that's coming through, like wanting to ground something in the physical. But for some reason it's coming through is there's multiple levels to that. So it's kind of like they're on the ground floor and they're working their way up. That's how it's coming through. So, interesting. Aries, I'm going to pull a card for you. What's Aries' energy today? Dragonfly. This card talks about mastery over the mind, but to me, it is also a card that symbolizes a very strong spiritual connection and synchronicity, as well as what I get with this dragonfly energy. There could be a lot of telepathic or mental connection with this connection. Like there could be a lot of like signs and synchronicities that you're seeing. pay attention to your dreams as well. That could be a really significant part of it. Can I get another card for Aries? Because for me, the dragonfly, of course, it's an air element. But the dragonfly is also a lot of water to me, like symbolically, because they start off their life cycle in the water. But there's also like with this triangle, especially that's representing to me water, right? Like it's like I feel like emotionally and mentally you have a very strong connection with this person. Okay, could I get a card for an external energies outside of Aries? It also talks about like I said, mastery over the mind. There is also something here about like illusions, but I don't want to like just give me a second with that one. Hold on. Master of light, illusion, and the mind. When the dragonfly card appears, it's worth considering the quality of your mind and perception. Are they restless or still, dreamlike or crystal clear? The situation at hand may be different than it appears at first glance. The dragonfly reminds us to calm the mind so the light of wisdom can shine through. Okay, what I'm getting with this is especially in dream energy, because I'm getting very strong dream energy in this card, in this reading. This sometimes... How do I explain this? You may be experiencing something in your dream state where it's trying to show you something that's in the unseen. But because you don't quite have the full experience, like it could be something where it's like this is a really new thing for you, or like you haven't had this sort of experience before. So even though you're picking up on all these new things, your brain, your mind, is using your past experience, like the things that you know or have experienced before, using those images or using those people, relationships, or like things, ideas that you are already familiar with in order to fill in the gaps of what you will be experiencing, but you don't quite have a frame of reference for yet, if that makes sense. Like, it's your mind is filling in the gaps of what you don't yet know. So just be conscious of things like illusions, where it's like maybe you're seeing something from the past, but it doesn't mean that the past is repeating. It just means that your brain is using your past experience to try to fill in the gaps of what you don't yet know. I feel like that's how it wants to be explained. Okay. Hopefully that makes sense. Okay, and energy outside of Aries, Panther. Interesting. I feel like this person is doing shadow work. And the shark, okay. Okay, that's a lot of fear there. Panther and the shark, that's a lot of fear. Okay, I feel like this person, so if this is a very strong spiritual connection, again, it does feel like this person is doing shadow work that has something to do with like facing their fears or working through their fears. I feel like part of their fear might be Part of their fear might be losing an opportunity with you. That's how it's coming through. But I'm also getting that there's a bit of a fear in terms of like feeling like what they have to give is not enough. Or that you have so much more than they do in a certain area or something like that. And so it's kind of like maybe a bit of an insecurity, Aries, or something like that. It's, I'm getting a lot of water, especially with the shark coming out. This is, of course, water. But what I'm seeing here with the dragonfly is like their energy feels kind of like it's beneath the water, if that makes sense. Like I'm like, there's a bit of a murkiness here, but for you, it's like you're gliding on top of the water, if that makes sense with the dragonfly. Like, I don't know what that means in sort of a practical sense, but it just feels like, so maybe there's something about emotions, like maybe they're sort of in their emotional energy really, really strongly, or like maybe there's a feeling of overwhelm in that. But for you, it's kind of like you're on the surface of the water. You're kind of gliding above it. Can I get a card for the shared connection? The wolf. Interesting. And the hummingbird at the bottom of the deck. I love to see that card always. That's a card about joy and finding the nectar and transforming darkness into light. And with the wolf here, like I feel like there is this energy of so maybe you are, this might be sort of like a teacher student dynamic. It doesn't have to be that like in a formal sense. It could be just like this person's a part of your group in whatever way. Excuse me. Especially with that energy of like somebody who's like working their way up to you. It feels like Aries, even though I feel like you are like side by side with them in a sense, like you've already done this journey or like you've already gone through this cycle in some way. It's almost like you're at the phase where you're helping somebody else through a cycle. So there is that kind of dynamic of this mentor energy here with the wolf. I was getting this interesting message before your reading, which I didn't think was connected until I saw this card, about reframing who is the villain in the story, which is interesting. I don't know what that has to do with your reading today. I don't know. Maybe you previously saw this person as a villain, or maybe, I don't know. Because these two cards together, like, are very, very difficult cards to see in a reading. I don't think that's yours, Aries. I think this is somebody else in your environment who may be going through a difficult time, is just what's coming through with that. Like, they're doing heavy shadow work, it feels like. And I'm seeing you as being I'm almost seeing you as a guide in some way, but at the same time, I feel like there may also be this sort of like tension between you and this person, whoever they are, because it's kind of like, especially with the panther, right? The way that the panther is looking at the wolf. Like there may be something about like, their shadow energy might see you as an opponent or villain or somebody who's like there to harm them or like that kind of thing. I don't think that's the case though, but it's kind of like that's a fear that they might be projecting onto this. Like, and so there may be, I don't think there's mirroring, to be honest, in this situation. It feels very strongly like one person is going through sort of like this intense shadow work that involves facing their fears or working through their fears or acknowledging their fears. And those seem to be, I don't feel, I don't know, maybe I was going to say the word triggered, but it doesn't feel like that. Doesn't quite feel like the right word, but it feels like this dynamic or this relationship or this connection somehow brings those fears to the surface. I feel like this person is, though, like, it does feel like bringing fears to the surface in a way where they can be worked with and dealt with. So it does feel like a positive thing, but of course uncomfortable. Okay. Interesting. But the hummingbird here feels like a really positive energy as the bottom of the deck, the overall energy of the reading. Transforming darkness into light. So I do feel like there is that. The wolf talks to me about like tradition, values, things that we learn from our parents and family and our roots and all of that, but also knowing when and where to transmute that, to change the tradition or to like work through generational trauma, like that kind of energy. So there may be a generational aspect here, but it doesn't have to be that for you. It does feel like experience though. Like learning from someone who has more experience than you. In some way, I feel like maybe that, like, you are that person. Like, you are the one who has more experience in whatever area of your life this relates to. There's someone here who is, like, just starting that process, is how that feels. Okay, Aries. What is Aries energy? She of the Kerouac, yeah. The feminine principle is this card. It's very loving, this energy. This is like the Ace of Cups in this deck. So unconditional love is what's coming through with this. The receptive principle in nurturing and fertility. She of the Kerouac may indicate a form of pregnancy, a necessary time of nurturing and development. We need to be open to her overflowing grace. She may also indicate a need to allow her nurturing grace to flow through us to others in the form of unconditional love and giving and spiritual healing. She tells us of the need for unconditional receiving, of making the best of what we are offered. She also reminds us that unbounded love and grace is ours, just waiting to be accepted. The presence of this card in a reading radiates comfort and nurturing to the cards around it. Okay, yeah, it is something like, the line that stuck out in that description to me for you is allowing this unconditional love to flow through you to others. I feel like that's your energy. And this other, who is the panther shark. Okay, can I get a card for them? Fairies of the Future and Arvel the Parrot. So Fairies of the Future does talk about moving forward. And Arvel the Parrot talks about communication. Maybe you were, I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of fear in this dynamic though, but it's coming through like this person is trying to communicate what they are afraid of. Or like what may be holding them back. I feel like they're like Aries, you may be receiving communication in whatever form this is for you. It feels like very spiritual communication. You may be receiving spiritual communication from a very significant spiritual connection where they are trying to communicate their fears to you, or what it is that they are afraid of, or what may be holding them back in terms of like moving forward with the fairies of the future. Like, but I feel like that's a really positive thing. Like the fact that they are communicating this to you feels like a really big step. But what I think, though, is that there may be fears about this connection as well, which I think is totally valid. But I do think that they are acknowledging this connection, which is very important. Like, that's a really big step. Like, I feel like this person, whoever this person is, feels like they are acknowledging the connection, that there is one. It's established, it's stable, and they're learning how to work with it and to grow within it and to communicate within it, what it is that they're afraid of and what might be holding them back. Because the panther to me can be, like, it depends on the situation. The panther, but I'm hearing, like, reframe what you see as a villain in this case. I feel like there's something here where, like, you may be getting a new perspective on somebody's shadow. I feel like there's an aspect here where somebody is trying to protect themselves, right? So they may be feeling unsafe in something, or they may be, again, working through their fears, but in a way that feels like it's enlightened, or like that they know this. They know that this is something that's happening. It's not unconscious. Although the shark can come through with unconscious or subconscious energies, but the fact that Arvel the parrot is out here tells me that there's awareness. It does feel like awareness, or that they're at least communicating or making the attempt to communicate something about this. The number 5 is coming through strongly for you today. Yeah, clear communication. Communications are vitally important here. Listen carefully, be articulate, be willing to calmly debate the issues and explore ideas with others. Open communication will enhance the chances of success all around. Arvel also suggests that the querent watch for body language, incomplete sentences, and unfinished thoughts, and trying to discover what these signals are meant to get across. Arvel reminds us that good, clear communication is sometimes hard work. It requires elbow grease because the elbows are the secondary centers to the throat. He wishes you to know that his elbows are well greased. Okay. There's something about the hands that are coming through. I said this in a previous reading. I think it was a Sagittarius reading. I'll link it above if I can find it. Where the hands are how the heart expresses itself. Whereas the voice or words is how the mind expresses itself. So I don't know. There is something about like the heart that's coming through very strongly with that. Or unspoken communication as well. Interesting. This is the energy between you, the connection. The bodacious bodak. That's an energy of like, the sage at the bottom of the deck. Okay. So, because the wolf sometimes comes through with family and tribe and like parents and teachers kind of thing, the bodacious bodak is, I think, represents sort of like a shadowy kind of masculine energy. Doesn't necessarily have to be shadowy, like the card that, okay, I'm just gonna read it 1 second. It talks about like someone who's trying to be helpful but is not really. Meddling, tampering, sabotage, helpful, fixing, and order. Someone somewhere is meddling uninvited in the issue. It may be you, it may be someone else. See if you can work out who it is and begin to untangle the messy web they have woven of confusion and disorder and misunderstanding. So much worse than our own natural disorder. It will take great firmness to get this person to keep his sticky fingers out of your affairs, or you to keep yours out of the affairs of others. The amount of tact you use in sorting this out is up to you, but the Bodak type person doesn't usually notice hints. Remember, whoever it is says they mean well. Whoever it is says they mean well. They may even believe that. It's very hard to believe that the Bodak's bad results are always just an accident, as he insists. He may believe this, but we don't have to. The word sabotage comes to mind. If you don't want the Bodak hanging around looking for ways to help, make sure you don't leave things in the wrong place or dangle any loose ends. He may find some bodacious things to do with them, okay? Okay, interesting. I don't know, Aries. I feel like that you may have a Bodak in your midst somewhere. And I feel like there's someone around you that, like, so what's coming through is that there may be some sort of energy that's interfering in this connection. Like someone who's like trying to be helpful. They have the intention. This came out in the last reading, the Sagittarius reading as well. Someone who has the intention of being helpful in, like, this feels like almost like someone outside of this connection. This is not the person. This is somebody outside of this connection who's trying to interfere or meddle in the form of being helpful, right? Like, it's like their intention is to be helpful or to like somehow like give something to you, or like I'm kind of getting this energy of like you know, in like Disney movies where the princess always has like these little like animals that are helping, like the mice, or like I'm thinking of like Little Mermaid again, where like the Sebastian, right, the lobster, like the sidekicks kind of energy, like they're like, but like they're trying to arrange it so that the prince and the princess can get together, but in a way it's not helpful, and it's not like, it like causes more of a disaster, or if they had just let it alone, it would have happened naturally. But it's kind of like they're trying to get it to happen faster or something like that. It's coming through like that. It's meddling with the intent of being helpful, but it's not. And so it's like, I feel like there is something here where it's like I don't know. Pay attention if that's your energy, Aries, though I feel like it's not. I feel like it's somebody who's trying to almost like, okay, it's kind of coming through as like paparazzi. I don't know why. Like, it's like they're trying, like, what I'm kind of getting is like, let's say there's like a celebrity couple, for example, and like this is a person who's like the paparazzi, like trying to get photos or whatever in order to try and become involved in that dynamic when they're clearly not, right? Like, it's that kind of thing. Or it could have something to do with like invasion of privacy, but it's kind of like the way that this person would frame it as being like, oh, look at these wonderful pictures I took of you. It's like, I didn't ask for that, right? Like, it's that kind of energy. Like, they think that they're being helpful. They may even believe that, but it's unwelcome or unwanted. And I feel like this other energy, because the way that this is looking is like trying to remove the influence of this energy. I don't know. There may be, because this Bodacious Bodak might be, like, I always get, like, with that description, like, there may be loose ends, right? So if there are loose ends, then the Bodak will come pulling on them. That's how it's coming through. So it could be that the Bodak is, like, if there is some sort of energy that feels like interference in some way, that that might be an area where there are loose ends that need to be dealt with in some way. And I feel like that has to do with the shark, right? Like, the loose ends feel like something to do with, fears, insecurities, self-doubt as well. Dark man. Okay. Interesting. Dealings or relationship with a man with dark complexion or hair. Yoke. Feeling frustrated or tied down. Cracked cup. Dissatisfaction with life. Someone may be trying to live vicariously through you, Aries. It's especially, like, I keep getting that paparazzi example. Like, of course, that's not going to be literally for every one of you, but it feels like, I don't know. Or, like, someone who's, like, trying to play matchmaker, but it's like, why are you doing that? Like, it just feels, like, unnecessary. And it's because they have their own dissatisfaction. Moon. Changes in your life. You have July. So summer months may be significant in some way. And then Archway. New opportunities, possibilities, and paths opening up. Perhaps in July. And then you have, at the bottom of the deck, you have Happiness, Flowers, and Four-Leaf Clover. Good, Great Fortune. Which I'd love to see at the bottom of the deck. Yeah, I feel like there's some sort of interference in this connection. It feels like paparazzi. I'm just gonna keep calling it that because, like, that's the best way that I can explain this. Like, it doesn't feel like a third party. It feels like somebody who's not even connected to either person in some way. Or, like, maybe there is a connection, but it's very superficial. It's, like, not it feels almost voyeuristic in some way. Aries feels a bit like that. And I feel like maybe that's causing a bit of anger in one or both people. Like, I feel like because I keep getting this energy, especially with, like, paparazzi, where it's like there's one person in the couple, let's say, who's getting upset about it. I feel like that's not you. It feels like the Panther energy. They're, like, getting upset about this. And I feel like a lot of this is happening in the spiritual realms. It feels like, Aries. And I don't know, I feel like, especially because I keep seeing this energy of, like, grounding, right? It's like, it's becoming grounded. There may be, like, a lot of, like, buzz about a certain dynamic, right? Like, you and another person. It, again, doesn't have to be romantic. It could even be, like, work related. Just take it how it resonates for you. But it's like there seems to be a lot of buzz, right? Like, that's the word that I'm getting. Like, like as if there's a new celebrity couple, but like translate it to your life of something that you care about, right? Like it's like there's a lot of excitement or quote unquote news, or there may be people who are talking about it, and there's like somebody who wants to get in on that, but they have nothing to do with the actual thing that's happening, if that makes sense. They're a voyeur in that way. That's how it's coming through. Okay. Can I get some cards for Aries, please, or some guidance? Yeah, 10 of Cups, 6 of Swords, and King of Swords. You have the 10 of Cups here to start, which is really lovely. I feel like, though, there's something here of, like, with the 6 of Swords especially, this one to me gives this energy of, like, the good and the bad. Like, it's kind of like you have to accept both, the good and the bad. That there's something really positive here, right? This new connection. I'm just going to keep phrasing it this way, where it's like a celebrity couple, right? Like happiness, right? But this couple is very happy, but because they're in some way public figures, there's this aspect that they have to deal with where their privacy maybe isn't respected by certain people, right? Like that kind of thing. It's kind of like that's part of the lifestyle that they chose. So it's kind of like having to accept the bad, quote unquote, in order to get the good, right? Like it's kind of how it's coming through. There is this dynamic here of like, you got to accept both. But there is frustration there. I am getting that. Page of Pentacles in reverse. Yeah, I don't like this energy. Because this one to me feels like somebody who's on the outside in reverse. It's like somebody who's on the outside of something. I feel like they have like a lot of dissatisfaction in their life. Like they're coming through with the cracked cup. There's dissatisfaction. King of Wands, Knight of Swords, but it kind of came out in reverse. I feel like this other in the connection, like I'm seeing them as being the panther, the shark. But the King of Wands, Knight of Swords in reverse is telling me that at the moment there's not a lot of action. Or that they're holding back something. Like they're holding back an action, or they're holding back some sort of message or something like that. They're holding back for whatever reason. Why is this person holding back? Again, there may be sort of fear about this, like, yeah, the Nine of Swords, as I was saying that. Anxiety, fear. It's fear. I don't know, maybe this Page of like, maybe there's a fear of, like, of this connection causing, like, a big fuss in some way, or like there's gonna be people who like it feels kind of like an invasion of privacy, or like that they'll lose some aspect of their privacy or something like that. Especially with that energy that keeps coming through is like a paparazzi kind of, like it feels invasive, or feels like something that should be private gets sort of like shared with the public in some way, like fear of that, or I don't know. Somehow that is a factor that's interfering with the connection, or that's within the connection. Is this person working through their fears? 9 of Pentacles. I feel like this person is focusing on their independence in some way, or it's kind of giving this vibe of like they're focusing on work, or they're focusing on something else. What's this Page of Pentacles in reverse? You have 9 of Wands, King of Pentacles, and Page of Wands. The 9 of Wands talks to me about having boundaries. King of Pentacles and Page of Wands. I feel like this is something about like setting a boundary. Two of Swords. You have 3 of Swords at the bottom of the deck. Interesting. I don't like this energy all of a sudden. There's something off here. Five of Swords. Yeah, there's something off here. The Sun at the bottom of the deck. I feel like there's something interfering in this connection. I'm just going to phrase it like that. Like there's some sort of interference in this connection that's like causing someone to be in their shadow, like, or like is activating someone's fears in this connection. Whereas one person is really like wanting to give unconditionally, it feels like being really patient with something that's interfering with this. Whereas the other person may be feeling angry or frustrated about it. And it's kind of like, I don't know, with the Five of Swords, I feel like it is like having to like be really firm about cutting something off, or like putting boundaries with whoever this like interfering paparazzi is, and being like, that's enough. This is not helpful. I don't want this, right? Like that's how it's coming through. Because it's starting to like, it just feels inappropriate in some way, or that it's coming from a place where it's causing dissatisfaction, or it just feels uncomfortable and inappropriate in some way. Okay. I'm going to leave it there, Aries. I hope that was helpful. If this reading resonated with you, please like, subscribe, leave a comment down below. I'd love to hear from you. Thank you so much for sharing your energy with me, and I hope you have a great day. Bye.